Welcome back to the TNC podcast for the third edition of the self-isolation special. This is the TNC podcast, just different. There's very strange times in the UK and all across the world at the moment. Me and Chris are both self-isolating, which means we can't be together, but it does mean that we've got a bit more time than usual, so we can jump on to Skype and record some podcasts. Chris, the first two episodes have gone down strangely well, which worries me.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the amount of people that have watched it, or kind of somewhat scared about the fact that people are relying on us talking nonsense, which maybe just sums up where society is at right now.
It also worries me slightly that we've had, groundbreaking interviews with Stuart Webber, captains of Norwich City Football Club, and arguably us talking about beaches in Norfolk has gone down better, and the people will be delighted to hear today that we're doing more top 5 lists. Today we're going to be talking about our top 5 favourite cheeses and also top 5 favourite Norfolk restaurants. And we've been on this Skype call quite some time arguing over this, haven't we? But we'll be getting onto that later.
Sure,
Chris, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you for asking. I've had an epic weekend of selling cheese to the public, so they're all stocked up now, which is superb.
Let's just have some context around that.
Yeah, sure. The Cheese Truckle, which is, of course, a fabulous local business, been supplying all of the best restaurants in the region with their cheese for many, many years. The restaurants and bars, of course, shut their doors, most of them anyway. And it presented an issue of actually there was a lot of stock that they needed to get rid of that was going to go to waste. So we put some messaging out there and generated a lot of interest. And thanks to all of the local media outlets and some quality social media activity, we managed to attract hundreds of people to come down and buy cheese, which is good because you're giving back to the community. People are getting their food, which is really important. And of course, saving a local business. So there's the context. Big up to Darren Huckabee and Cedric Armstrong, of course, former Norwich City players, for coming and showing their support.
I bet Cedric's got a very good taste of cheese, isn't
he? It was so funny because Cedric came down. He was like, right, I'm only having French stuff. And I went, okay, yeah, fine, all right, fine. So we took him through and we showed him everything, and he put it in his box, his French stuff. And he probably wouldn't want me to make this public, but it's too late now. I'm going to throw you in the deep end, Cedric. He couldn't resist a little Swiss cheese. He couldn't resist. Yeah, couldn't resist. Can't remember the name of it, but he was. It's his guilty pleasure, although he wouldn't want to publicly admit that. So hopefully he's not listening to this right now.
A little Swiss number on the side, Cedric. You naughty, naughty boy. Right, let's get into the comments section actually of the last podcast, and we asked people if they've got any businesses in Norfolk that maybe need a bit of help, a bit of love at the moment, because this isn't an easy time for anyone. Then let us know. You can email us. You can comment under this podcast. You can tweet us. And Paul Hinchliffe got in touch and he said, "Hi chaps, so good to see you. Topic could be about the amazing and rich history of our beautiful city Norwich in future episodes." We might get onto that, Paul. But he says, "I run a small business in Loddon teaching martial arts. I started virtual lessons this week. It was a good start with children training via Zoom. We are the Cooksul One of Loddon. Now, if you want to be doing martial arts virtually, then go to www.kswcbl.co.uk.
Oh, wow, I love that, by the way. That's creative. Active. Speaking of virtual businesses, I've actually just come up with a little special shout out myself to a guy who on Instagram goes by the name of Tyler Harrison Magic. Now, he is opening up his skills to families across the planet right now, and he will perform a 15-minute magic show, for just a Nigel Benner tenner, which I think is superb value. A private magic show for your family. I mean, if you're bored in isolation, why not get a magician in your TV and performing just for you? Big up at Tyler Harrison Magic on Instagram.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'll tell you what we did on Friday, actually, is Jen suggested an idea. We did a virtual quiz. So me and Jen wrote a quiz. My rounds were a Great Yarmouth round, a betting round, a pea round, and a Norwich City round, and Jen did like all that fancy stuff, and we Skyped her family, and we had a virtual quiz on over Skype, which was good.
Well, that's a fantastic idea to beat the boredom, Jack. And how did it go?
Jen's dad won.
I'm not surprised.
So well
Big
done.
up Jez from Bez.
Yeah, well done, Jez from Bez. A very knowledgeable chap. Chris, let's quickly get into a little bit of Norwich City. We are a Norwich City fan channel, so we need to supply our viewers with some of that content. Over on The Athletic at the moment, all of the writers are writing about their favourite ever goals of their respective clubs. Michael Bailey's going through his top 3 greatest goals at the moment. And in at number 3 for him...
I thought it was moments, Jack. Is it goals or moments?
It's called greatest goals. Now you can you can define greatest goal in whatever capacity you like. For him at number 3 is Simeon Jackson's versus Portsmouth. Now please do remember that you can get access to The Athletic, which has the greatest stable of football writers across the globe. Head to theathletic.co.uk/TalkNorwichCity for 50% off your subscription. That works out to just £2.49 a month, and also you get a free 7-day free trial. So if you don't like it, you can cancel within 7 days and you won't be charged a penny. Chris, what is your favourite ever Norwich City goal?
Well, if you're defining goal by...
I'm not defining it. I've said you define goal in whatever capacity you want to.
Okay, in terms of goal, it doesn't get better than Youssef Safri versus Newcastle. Miles out, not on at all. Youssef Safri wasn't known for it and just absolutely banged one in top bins. And, to see the look on Shay Given's face after that, which at the time was in his prime, was just a stunning moment. And, of course, we were fresh to the Premier League at that point. That was before we became a bit of a yo-yo club. So... it was a beautiful goal. But there's also, it's tough. You could say Howson, of course, just a season ago. You could say, a few seasons ago.
One against Forest.
You could say yes. You could say Redmond against Borough at Wembley. You could say Redmond against Ipswich at home in the playoffs semi-final. There's been so many good goals over the years. What's yours, Jack?
I think for just pure carnage, it has to be Jackson's against Derby, because it kind of like everything I want in a moment in football. It had the last minute element to it. It basically secured our promotion back to the Premier League after a few seasons, quite a while away from the Premier League. So that for me was a real highlight, and I think that would probably be my number 1. But looking through the whole of last season under Daniel Farke, there was certainly a whole load of great goals. Let us know your favourite ever Norwich City goal down in the comment section below. I want to keep kind of some current news lines based with coronavirus and football in this podcast as well. Now, today, La Liga has suspended this season, which means it won't be returning, which is bold, but I think probably we're going to be seeing this more and more across Europe. I think Spain is slightly ahead of us in terms of where they're at with coronavirus. That they've got it really, really bad out there. Chris, do you think, I mean, we've spoke about it and we've said we don't want to speculate. With that news, do you think there's more likelihood in the Premier League taking out similar kind of action?
I hope so. I think that it's the most sensible option going forwards. I'm pleased that they've made that decision, because it is just silliness keeping it on. It really is. Life life itself is way more important than football. So for me, I think the league have done the right thing for sure, and I really wholeheartedly hope that the Premier League do the right thing. It is, of course, a different kettle of fish in terms of the big dogs at the top. The big cheese, so to speak, within the Premier League. There's so much more. I've got cheese in the mind. There's so much more money in the Premier League than any other league in the world. That greed will play its part in trying to keep the season going. But I think eventually, sadly, when death tolls go up, people will realise that the best thing to do is to suspend the Premier League season.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a really fascinating few weeks to see how all of this plays out for sure. Right, let's get on to our next segment. Now, the top comment on the latest TNC coronavirus self-isolation podcast was from It's Me, James E, which is a really catchy YouTube username. He says, do your top 5 restaurants and cafes
Wow.
in Norfolk. Now, Chris, I went first last time, so I'm going to let you go first this time. What are your top 5 restaurants and cafes in Norfolk? Now, I know you're a very cultured chap, so I'm expecting this list to be rather special.
Honestly, mate, it is. It actually, makes the hair stand up on my arms. It really does. Some stunning stuff across a variety of different genres. But I would say that probably the key element of my list is that they are all quite posh.
Okay.
So do forgive me. Number 1, and by the way, this is really challenging. I would argue that my top 3 could be switched, depending on the day, depending on what's on the menu, depending on the specials. But straight away, my number 1, which was the most impressive restaurant that I've been to in a long time within the last year, is Gunton Arms. Wowzer. Yeah. Serious wowzer. They cook the meat in front of you. Yeah. It's got such a lovely ambiance about the place. There's so many specialities on the menu. There's proper cuts, proper fish. The seafood is extravagant, and for me, Gunton Arms is definitely up there.
For once, I think I agree with you. I think that the joy of the joy of Gunton Arms not only is the food, not only is the wonderful selection of beers, it's that landscape when you look out. There's deers on the horizon. Yeah. The Gunton Estate is one of the finest pieces of land in Norfolk, and for that, Chris, I've got a lot of respect for you.
Wow, I didn't expect you to agree with me.
It's not my number 1, but I'll let you have it.
Speaking of landscapes, another stunning place to crack on into a 12-course taster menu is Stoke Mill at Stoke Holy Cross.
I thought this was going to be your number 1.
Of course, the village that I grew up in, if you didn't know, fun fact, Stoke Mill is set, of course, within an old mill, an impressive structure right along the river. I believe it's the River Yare, possibly the Wensum. Please feel free to call me out on that if I'm incorrect. 12-course tasting menu, so don't have your breakfast before you turn up. And it is stunning seafood. Proper steak. Again, I talk about cuts of meat. That tickles me a little bit. But, just lots of little delicate things that pile up and really satisfy the palate across the board. So for me, Stoke Mill is definitely in at number 2. And by the way, big up to Stoke Mill, because they are being very innovative considering the current climate, and they have now got takeaway options where you can turn up in your banger and pick up your 12-course taster menu. So feel free to check out Stoke Mill. Yeah, so imagine a fine-class restaurant like Stoke Mill doing a takeaway.
It's part of the joy of these restaurants is the experience of going there, isn't it?
So. Yeah, Jack, but when it's Stoke Mill quality food, I mean, I can't begin to tell you. I've known the guys there for a while there. Of course, customers of cheese truffles, so all of the cheese is absolutely brilliant. Now, my number 3 is Ingham Swan.
Yeah, okay.
Ingham Swan is unbelievable. I mean, of course, very, very tragically, they had a fire very recently. They've done it up very, very well indeed. The customer service there is excellent. The food quality there is nothing short of a 10 out of 10. So for me, Ingham Swan at number 3.
Also, another lovely place, Ingham.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. But that's Norfolk, isn't it, Jack? That's why our restaurants are the best in the world. Number 5 for me, number 4, sorry, I missed out number 4. Number 4 is Buckinghamshire Arms. Now, for all of you football fans that like a good old feed up, and I'm talking like big portions, like literally, I've never seen such a pile of stuff in my entire life, Jack. It's unbelievable. So big portions of proper, hearty British food. Get yourself to the Buckinghamshire Arms. Cracking to go for a little walk around there as well, by the way. Number 5, Norwich City Centre based, of course. And of course, a popular hangout for the footballers is Haggle. Wowzer. Proper good food. Last time I went there, I had a whole sea bass. It was absolutely stunning. But I must say the tapas-style Turkish dishes are unbelievable. I'll completely admit as well, Jack, that I don't have a clue what I'm ordering. In actual fact, last time I went, I said to them, can you just pick a load of stuff for me. Here's my budget, and all I can say is it was the best decision I've made in recent history. So those are my top 5. Bring it on, Jack. If you say anything in Great Yarmouth, I give up.
I think Hagley is Anna Tribal's favourite restaurant, actually, and she's obviously a lady of great decorum, so that really shines through. I'm surprised there's one omission there that I'm surprised it didn't make your list. Is the sushi place in Norwich?
Cheeky Norwich. Yeah. To be fair, Shun has been unlucky there. Actually, I would say that Shiki could easily be at number 4 or 5 as well. So big up Shun. Shun, by the way, from Cheeky Norwich, based on Tombland, is doing takeaways as well. Okay. He's a massive Norwich fan, so do support Cheeky Norwich.
Of course, named his son, was it Daniel Fark or something?
No, the middle name is Farklife.
Farklife, that's it. Wonderful. Okay, so that's a really good top 5 actually. There's one crossover in there where we've gone for the same, and actually at the same number as well, which is really interesting. So my top 1 is Morstan Hall. Now,
oh wow!
Of course, head chef of Morstan Hall, Galton Blackiston, has been on the TNC podcast. I've still actually got Chris, and we need to crack this open together. I've still got the bottle of champagne he gave us. It's sitting just through there in my kitchen. So,
mate, just on that topic, should we just do a podcast just absolutely smashed over the next few weeks, Jack?
Yeah, but we can't get together.
No. Let's just both crack open a crate. In fact, let us know in the comments if you want us to do a pissed podcast, because I think there's a market for that, Jack.
In that case, you're going to have to send me some of the Woodfords that you've.
You're going to have to do without it. You're just going to need to find whatever you've got there.
I did actually buy our local brewery does a lovely lager called the Drunken Donkey. So I've stocked up on a few drunken donkeys.
Mate, that sums you up.
Yeah, exactly. Morstan Hall, a lovely restaurant. One of the few, I'm not sure how many there are, but one of the few restaurants in Norfolk with a Michelin star, and has held it for a long while. Galton is a top man, a massive Norwich fan, sits near Delia up in the executive boxes. The amount of culinary expertise that we have within Carrow Road is absolutely second to none. Very nice place. Save up for a little bit for it, but once you go, it's well worth it. Number 2, and I can already hear your cutting remarks about where this is based, but please do give me the time to say the next is called the Columbia, or otherwise known as Tony Poli's. Now, no, this is for me one of the finest steak places in Norfolk. Now, Dennis Shrabeni actually asked me when we were having dinner with him, Jack, I'm looking for some restaurants to go to. I suggested the Columbia on the back streets of Yarmouth. He went there, said he had a delightful meal. So for me, it's the fillet steak, it's the peppercorn sauce with asparagus, onion rings, and dauphinoise potatoes. That's the go-to meal. Get some wine. It's a family-run business. It's really good. Support local.
Yeah.
And you'll be treated to some absolutely delightful meat and seafood in the club.
Are we taking commission off this, by the way? The amount we're selling these restaurants is quite something.
I would love to be a food critic.
Yeah, you would be a good food critic, actually, Jack.
Number 3, exact same as you, Ingham Swan. Dined at Ingham Swan actually before it got burnt down. Haven't dined there since, so I'm really looking forward to going back there. Lovely place, lovely people, good food. Ingham Swan, number 3. Number 4 is another steakhouse in Yarmouth that goes by the name of Othello's, another family-run business. Head chef there, Michael. Lovely Greek food in there, absolutely brilliant. That's along the seafront. In the summer, it opens up. You can sit that beautiful North Sea breeze really wafting into your face with a glass of red wine on the side. It really hits the spot for me. And number 5 is actually. The question was restaurants or cafes. Now I'm going to throw a cafe in here because I think the cafe scene in Norfolk has taken a real hit in recent weeks due to closures. So I want to be giving these guys some love, and they're called the Beach Hut. There's nothing that brings me more joy than a coffee on the front near the sea. For me, that brings me so much happiness. And for me, in terms of cafe food, these serve one of the finest dishes I've ever had at a beach hut. It's clam chowder. Now, it's just really good. It's lumpy. You get a nice, chunk of sourdough bread to dip in the clam chowder.
You reek of sourdough, by the way.
Sorry?
You reek of sourdough.
Do I?
Yeah.
Sourdough is lovely. So yeah, the clam chowder and the sourdough bread, that mixture with the fresh sea air, it really makes you feel alive. And that's what I'm looking for in a restaurant experience. That feeling of invigoratedness. Is that a word? I don't know. Just to really, give me a punch and go, yeah, we're in this.
I tell you what, I'll say now before we go on to our next section, Jack, is I think this is the stage where if you are not already eating, I would highly suggest you go into your stockpiled cupboards and get out some food, because this is about to get serious.
Definitely. So across our 9 different restaurants there, we'd love to see you support them in whatever capacity you can, whether that be maybe buying vouchers, getting takeouts if they're still open, which I doubt.
Oh, I've got another restaurant, Erpingham House, of course,
yeah.
which hosted the live TNC podcast. A fabulous vegan restaurant, some stunning dishes there. And for those that turn their nose up at vegan stuff, trust me, it is worth a try. It really took me by surprise how full of flavour everything was. How the chef there, Meg, is exceptionally talented and creates some fantastic dishes. So I agree with you, Jack. Go buy restaurant vouchers for these places.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, all of them restaurants we've mentioned, lovely buildings that they're set in. Erpingham House is another one. Okay, so that's restaurants. A good selection there. Should we get on to cheese?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so our top 5 favourite cheeses. Once again, you start me off.
Well, hang on, Jack. I would actually, hold on, because I'm actually going to bring the products to the camera here.
Wow.
One moment. Keep talking.
I'll fill the air. Kitchen is looking very tidy at the moment, Chris. Well done. And that fruit bowl is really bustling, I would say. Very stocked fridge, Chris. It's also worth mentioning, while I fill air, we've changed the living room about here because we were very bored. The sofa's moved in, the plant has gone to the far side, and it just allows the sunlight to come in. Anyway, back to you.
Okay, so number 1 on my top 5 cheese list is Mrs. Temple's Bingham Blue.
It's an almighty chunk of cheese.
Oh, this is extraordinary. Well, this is what you get when you are the son-in-law to be of the cheesy geezer, the cheese truffle. Now, you know what? Just for you guys, I'm going to open this up, and straight away you can smell the waft. And this is a big old boy. You can't buy this on the shelves, but you can certainly buy it on the cheese truffle. Now look at that. Now, I'm just going to try and get this as close to the camera as possible without crumbling it. But this is a proper bit of cheese. So feel free to critique that as you please. But by the way, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. So my number 1 is Mrs. Temple's Bingham Blue. What's your number 1, Jack, please?
Mine is I haven't got brands or any of that nonsense. I must admit, cheese isn't my go-to. I wouldn't say I'm a cheese connoisseur. I do like cheese. My number 1 cheese is a lovely slice of brie.
Brie's so boring.
Brie's lovely.
How is brie your number 1?
Because I think it's just got that creaminess that I really look for in a cheese.
I seriously question anyone that puts brie at their number 1. There's so many better. Mate, brie is bland. Even in terms of a soft, mate.
Your issue here is you're not seasoning your brie correctly. Now, if you get some
seasoning,
lovely onion chutney on there,
cheese.
Get some chutney on there and start living.
But that's not cheese. That's the chutney, mate.
Brie goes in at the top for me.
That's shambolic. Okay, well, I'll tell you about a proper soft cheese at my number 2, which is Camembert. Now, not everyone's favourite.
Yeah, not for me.
Because it certainly is an acquired taste, Camembert. Now, I'll tell you why it's my favourite. Because, yes, you can have it cold on a cheese board, but there is nothing better, nothing, than putting a Camembert in the microwave. Yeah.
Microwave?
Well, or you bake it.
Yeah, bake it to get that crispy skin. Yeah.
And then what you do is you get some sourdough, you get a lovely fresh batch of bread, and you break the skin and you dive in, and it's this gooey, gorgeous flavour of loveliness. So Camembert is at my number 2.
Is bread your dipping utensil of choice when going into a Camembert?
Well, why? What would you put in your cheese?
I don't know. Maybe
what would you stick in there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe a breadstick.
Oh, mate, that is shocking, mate. Honestly, this is so poor from you.
Okay.
Brie and bloody breadsticks. You're gonna.
I'll tell you what. If you're disappointed with Brie, by the time I get to 5, you're gonna be fuming. Okay, number 2, I've actually gone for a nice blue cheese. So that goes in. I had my eyes really opened actually to the blue cheese world when I was over in Australia. They make some really lovely blue cheese out on the west coast. Had it with some very simple crackers, just to really let that taste come through. Blue goes in at number 2 for me as well.
Hang on, blue.
Just some blue cheese, yeah.
Do you not know the name of the blue cheese that you had?
No.
Was it Stilton? Was it Saint Agar? Was it?
I think it was Stilton. But I'm not even sure.
Well,
it was nice.
Well, in which case, my next one is nice and easy. Stilton. There is nothing like a good quality bit of blue-veined Stilton.
Blue vein. Lovely. What does your fridge smell like?
The only thing I would say is the problem is, people that fridge browse, the classic fridge browse. I used to love a fridge browse when I grew up.
What do you mean?
Well, you just open it. Do you not ever just go into the kitchen, you just walk in, and you just have a little fridge browse?
Oh yeah.
You just see what you can put in your mouth. But now I've learned not to fridge browse because I can't open my fridge without having some gorgeous cheese. So that's my problem. It's just full of cheese.
Do you have like grapes or anything in your fridge? Or like
grapes in the fridge?
Yeah.
Hello. No, I have grapes in my fruit bowl like everyone else, Jack.
I think when you go to aren't grapes? No, grapes aren't refrigerated. Any other fruits that the cheese infects the taste of anything else?
I will never take your advice on what should be in the fridge or not. After you slagged me off for what's that? Why did you put pasta in the fridge? Because it's fresh pasta, Jack.
Yeah. No,
anyway, what's your next on your list? I had Stilton at number 3.
Edam.
Oh my God.
I love Edam.
I bet you've got Red Leicester in here as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh! No. Are you being serious?
Yeah.
You've got the worst cheese taste in the history of time.
Yeah, but the thing is it's not what the cheese is, it's what you do with the cheese that counts. And I tell you what, I can do some magical things with cheese.
Oh wow! Okay, well we won't. This is going to be published before the kids go to bed, so we won't go into that. Wow! My number 4 is this big old boy, Applewood smoked cheddar.
Oh, that looks nice.
This is extraordinary, Jack. And if you're a bit of a basic boy like yourself when it comes to your cheese, this is just a lovely mature cheddar, but smoked to perfection. It's perfect for cooking, melting, or just nibbling. Now, I would actually slice a bit off this. The other night, cooked up a lovely load of pasta. That of course I've not been stockpiling, and cut it off, grated it all over, smoked cheese, absolutely beautiful. That's Applewood. You can get this at your supermarket. This isn't just a cheese truffle special.
No, that looks really good. I'm going for what I would call a summer cheese. Just a nice feta, just a really nice Greek feta.
I kind of respect that.
I think it obviously you can't. It's not a nibbler. It's not a nibbler cheese where you go in the fridge and pick a bit off. You need it with some lovely fresh olives. You need it with some garlic. That nice summer salad. Just that fresh food that we all love and crave.
Fantastic.
What was that? Was that my number 4?
Yeah, go on.
No, that was my number 4. I think.
Oh, it was your number 4? Okay.
Was that my number 3?
My last one is mozzarella.
You can't be claiming I'm basic and then throwing mozzarella in there.
Mate, you see that my number 5?
Yeah, I know.
But I love pizza, so mozzarella is a perfectly.
Yeah, well, I love brie.
Mate, but it's not a number 1 cheese.
Yeah, but
mozzarella is not a number 1 cheese for anyone.
But I'm not exactly sure that Bing and Blue is changing the boundaries of cheese, is it?
How dare you? Miss Temple, which of course is a fantastic local local cheese business, would be ashamed of you.
I'm actually just flicking through the North Macedonian cheese section on Wikipedia.
Yeah, and you haven't got a clue what's in it, have you?
No.
I'm going to give you some cheese education at some stage.
I need it. I think it's part of my life, part of my curriculum that's really lacking, actually, cheese. Not good.
Let us know in the comments below what you thought of our top 5 restaurants.
I'll tell you what, actually, I'd love to hear people's top 5 cheeses in the comments, more so than restaurants, actually, because I feel I've got the Norfolk landscape of restaurants fairly covered. Cheese, it's a whole new world for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. That was good, Chris. I really enjoyed that.
If we have any subscribers left by the end of this coronavirus, I will be quite amazed.
Yeah, I just want to refer to a recent comment, actually, in
where? YouTube, Facebook, Twitter?
Oh, actually, no. I've got another shout-out. David Minister, he wants to give a shout-out to all of the postmen. I love postmen. I actually wanted to be a postman when I was younger. I think I've said that before.
This is going to sound really strange, but you kind of look like a postman.
Do I?
Yeah, I think you'd make a cracking postman. You know, Spud's a postman. Big up Spud. I know that he watches all of these podcasts.
Spud epitomises what it is to be a postman. Chatty, outgoing.
Spud, by the way, who, for anyone that doesn't know, it was the famous fourth official, the fan fourth official, who you'll remember.
Final comment of the day comes from the Rivster, and he says, and the winner of the most boring podcast ever is this. So the Rivster, if he's still watching, mate, that podcast was nothing compared to this.
I love people that watch our content all the way through and then slag it off.
Yeah, it's amazing.
My favorite type of social media troll is the one that slags us off, but then you check to see if they're following us, and they're following us, so therefore they clearly enjoy the content.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Thanks for the support, guys. Really appreciate it.
Any final comments?
Seriously, I could say be safe, but my message actually is be very aware of those that are vulnerable around you. So do consider, making sure you're honouring social distancing. If you have got a granny, granddad, grandma on planet Earth, bless their hearts, then please do keep in mind that they are vulnerable with this current situation. So don't be selfish, guys.
Yeah, don't be selfish, and also look after yourselves as well. Whether that be grabbing some fresh air away from everyone, that's really important. That's kept me uplifted over the past few weeks, and just talk to people. Me and Chris have been Skyping a lot recently. I've been FaceTiming my mum loads. That's really important. Reach out to people. That doesn't mean go and cuddle them and give them a kiss on the cheek or whatever. Just reach out to them virtually. I think that's massively important to make sure that we're not isolated. Thank you to everyone. I hope you're not too bored. I hope this has kept you slightly amused throughout. A big thank you to The Athletic as well, who's making it possible for us to do these and possible for Talk Norwich City. And actually all of our sponsors, the majority of them are local to Norfolk. A massive thank you to them guys who are absolute pillars of Talk Norwich City. And well done to Chris and his cheese. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again for another TNC podcast very soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers.